What's going on there, YouTube? Welcome back to another comic book video. Alright, so we're going to do a full story video. A full story video is when I sit down and take a bunch of videos that tell one overarching story and combine them together into one big video. Now, today's full story video is going to be about good old Batman and Robin. You see, when it came to DC Comics, they had launched the Dawn of DC, and one of their goals in the Dawn of DC was to bring back Batman and Robin, because after you had Alfred died at the very end of Tom King's run, for Batman and Robin, they weren't really able to see eye to eye with one another. And so when it came to DC Comics, they're like, hey, listen, we're going a new era of DC, the Dawn of DC, and we should bring back Batman and Robin. And so this entire run is really more of Batman and Robin, Damian Wayne, being able to reconnect with one another. I do hope you enjoy. What's going on there, YouTube? Welcome back to another comic book video. Okay, so we're going to continue our coverage over the Dawn of DC. Now, I know that the Dawn of DC is technically over now, right? Like, we're all in the all-in initiative right now that DC has at the moment. But for me, I feel like Dawn of DC does lead into the all-in initiative. There could be some things out of Dawn of DC that could lead into the all-in initiative. And so I kind of want to play a tad bit of catching up and cover almost everything of Dawn of DC. Now, so far, we have been covering Action Comics, Green Lantern, but now I'm going to sit down and cover some good old Batman and Robin. Now, we also have to remember that there was that period in time where Bruce Wayne and Damian Wayne were not really seeing eye to one another. Now, there were a lot of different reasons why, and one of those reasons, well, the death of Alfred, because technically it was Damian's fault that Alfred died, and you had Bane kill off Alfred. Either way, when it came to Bruce and Damian, for a good time there, they were not really able to work together. Now, you did have a few story arcs out there when they did, but again, when those books had ended, those two characters went their separate ways. But when it came to Dawn of DC, you could tell that DC wanted to bring those characters back together and bring back the whole father and son combo. The dynamic duo has to come back. Now, as we go through this series, we're going to see the two characters trying to begin the fresh start between them, but also we're going to learn more about the past of Damian Wayne by bringing in some new characters into the world of DC Comics. Now, the first page of this book kind of shows us that this book is going to be about animals. And the reason why, because you have somebody kind of talking about the idea of animals in Gotham City kind of ruining the entire city. It's time to make some changes in Gotham. And we also see this person working in some kind of lab, but also working on different kinds of animals. But getting over to Batman and Robin, we actually see the two characters going after another character known as White Rabbit. Now, when it comes to White Rabbit, it kind of plays in the whole idea of Alice in Wonderland. But we do see her currently holding a bunch of people hostage on a Zeppelin. Now, here's the thing. This scene right here only lasts about 3 pages long. And the reason why, because we're trying to show that Batman and Robin can actually work together and bring down bad guys at a faster rate. And so in 3 pages, you have our two heroes being able to stop her and free the hostages just like that. Now, after that, you have our two characters go back home. Now, remember, for Batman, Bruce Wayne, he's broke. Now, he's not broke, but he's somewhat broke. But either way, he lives in a brownstone right now. And so this is kind of huge. And the reason why, because you're now going to have Damian moving back in, but there's no Alfred there. And for Alfred, he plays a huge role when it comes to him being like the middleman between Batman and Robin. He was kind of there to ease things between the two characters. But now Alfred is no longer around. And so for Bruce, he has to be that father figure for Damian Wayne without any kind of backup at all. He gotta be that single father now. And so for Bruce, you could tell that he realized that. He wants to make amends with his son. He's all like, hey, Damian, you know what? with you being back here, we got to sit down and talk because there was a good period of time where you and I were not talking to one another like we should had. And so here we are now living together. Let's go ahead and sit down and talk some things out. But for Damien, no, because to Damien, it kind of shows that he's not really trying to have that heart to heart moment at the moment. Like, yes, they are father and son. They are Batman and Robin. And for him, that's okay. But the whole idea of being like father and son having heart to heart moment, he's not really ready for that just yet. And so you have Damien just go ahead and close his bedroom door to say, hey, listen, I want to lay down for the night to get my body ready just in case we got to go back out there in Gotham to help out more people. Now, like I said a moment ago, the whole idea of Alfred being that middleman for Bruce and also Damien, it really shows because the following morning, you have Bruce wake up, Damien is already awake and making breakfast, but also tea as well. Making tea just like Alfred did. As a matter of fact, it's Damien getting on Bruce on how he handles his tea. Because again, for Damien, he was with Alfred a lot. He learned a lot of things from Alfred over the years. Now, with that being said, for Bruce Wayne, he's like, listen, it's great to have you back here, but we're going to need some ground rules. Starting off with the idea that you need to go back to school, my dude. Now, for Damien, he does not want to go to school at all. And the reason why, because he's just so smart that he could easily pass any class in any school across the world in a matter of like hours and be done. But for Bruce, it's like, no. We got to make sure the world does not know that Bruce Wayne and his son Damian Wayne is not Batman and Robin. You got to have a normal life. But it's also Bruce saying like, listen, I heard that you were able to make friends out there on Lazarus Island. I want you now to make friends here in Gotham City as well. People your own age. Now for Robin, he does have another reason why he does not want to go to school. He wants to be Robin all the time and handling problems in Gotham City. Like, for example, there have been different science labs across Gotham that have been broken into. Tech has been stolen left and right. Now, for Robin, he tells Bruce that, listen, while you're trying to sleep in, I looked over that case and I realized that some of the equipment that was stolen belongs to a guy who was actually a hostage of White Rabbit the previous night. And his name is Dr. Kafira. Now, Dr. Kafira is going to be somewhat important for this story arc, but for Batman and Robin, that means they need to go pay him a visit. Now, when our heroes do arrive at the home of the Doctor, they realize that he's being kidnapped by a group of different villains. So you have Killer Croc, Man-Bat, Orca, and the Terrible Trio. Now, Man-Bat begins to fly away with the Doctor, and so you have Batman go after Man-Bat. Now, I want to shift our focus over to the Terrible Trio. Here's the reason why, because the Terrible Trio just bad guys, regular humans who wear animal masks when they're out there committing crimes in Gotham City. Now, like I said, they wear animal masks. And so for Robin, he's all like, hey, guys, go ahead and take off your masks right now because I know who you are under them. But this time, they're not wearing masks. It kind of seems like somebody had played with their DNA and fused their DNA with animal DNA. Now, when it comes to the Doctor, he's really big when it comes to DNA stuff in labs. And so we're kind of left to believe in the possibility that maybe his research has done something to the Terrible Trio. Now, you have Batman calling into Robin. Now remember, he went after Man-Bat to hopefully save the Doctor, but it's Bruce Wayne calling out for his son, like something is really wrong. By the time you have Damien being able to get to the roof, he realized that Batman was hit with some kind of gas. And that gas is now attracting all the different bats in Gotham City. And all those bats right now are trying to attack one person. And that would be, well, Batman. Now, as we get into the second chapter, before we are able to see Batman kind of handle that situation with the bats, we actually jump back in time and we see Robin still with Talia al Ghul and Ra's al Ghul, but being trained by one of his many teachers. Now, we do learn that her name is Mistress Harsh. Now, honestly, that name right there is kind of funny to me because the way she is acting, she is harsh. Her thing is that she wants Damien to have no feelings at all because as we go back in time to see this flashback, we're seeing a young Damien look at a bat and calling the bat cute. And it really does bother her because to her, bats are demons, but also for him to be one of the best assassins in the world to take his grandfather's place, he has to be heartless. He cannot have any feelings at all. And so she kills the bat in front of him. Now, for Damien, he does get upset, but she says, if you cared so much, you would have tried to stop me. But here's the problem though. Your feelings got in the way. And because of your feelings, it slowed you down, allowing the bat to die. But now we are able to dive back to the present day where we do pick up with Batman still being chased down or somewhat attacked by all the different bats in Gotham City. Now for Damian and also Bruce Wayne, they don't realize they're being watched by somebody, a new character. Now at first we're kind of left to believe that this character is going to be the daughter for one of the many bad guys of Batman, but it seems like she's not going to be. But apparently she says that Batman has stolen the symbol of the bat. Now, before we are able to explore that, we jump back over to Batman actually finding a way to get rid of all the bats by using some kind of repellent because he remembered a time where his mom had placed this kind of repellent around the house, the manor, to keep the bats away. So he took that and turned it into a smoke bomb to get rid of all the bats. Now for Batman and Robin, they can go back home, but unfortunately, the doctor has been taken away by the group of bad guys. Now we do learn that somebody is really in charge of the entire group of bad guys, with that person kind of hiding in the shadows. Now the newest character, I'm going to tell you right now, her name is Shush. She kind of tells us that she's trying to turn the symbol against Batman. Basically saying that I want all the bats to attack him because he stole that symbol away from the city. Now, Killer Croc, he does leave the group. And the reason why, because we're going to see him over in the Poison Ivy series that was coming out in his time in DC Comics. So he leaves the group, but the rest of the characters stay around. Now, we're kind of left to believe that something had happened to Man-Bat in the last chapter because he's also no longer around. So right now it's just Shush, Orca in the terrible trio, and also our mysterious character who's in charge of the entire group. Now, when we jump back over to Batman and Robin, they're back at the Batcave underneath the brownstone. Now, this is another moment where we do see Damian Wayne kind of taking what he learned from Alfred, but it's also showing us that for Damian, he had close connections or close ties to Alfred. Because again, Alfred was that middleman between him and Bruce Wayne. But with that being said, you have Damian being able to stitch up Bruce Wayne, but also tell Bruce that he was affected by some kind of gas that's going to be around him for a good while that could attract the different bats over to him. And so you had Damian say, listen, until we're able to figure out what to do with the bat problem, you can't go out at night. You got to stay home and rest at least. Now for Bruce, he agrees. But he also tells Damian like, yeah, you're right. I got to rest. But so do you, because in the morning, you're going to go to school. We see Damian Wayne going to school. Now for Damian, we already know the man truly hates the idea of going to school. But as soon as he gets to his class, he runs into his classroom bully. Now, here's the thing. Damian, we already know, Damian could easily taken care of this bully. But remember, he has to keep a low profile. And so is Damian like, you know what? Let me not beat you down for picking on me because I have a love for manga. But either way, while you have Damien staring down this bully, well, that is when he's introduced to the actual principal of the school, and that would be Principal Stone. Now, we also kind of see that Principal Stone might know Damien, and Damien might know her as well. But he also introduced to his teacher as well, and that will be Miss Hall. Now, after you have the two ladies being able to calm down Damien and the bully, by the time they look around for class, well, Damien had left the school completely. And the reason why? Because again, he wants to be Robin. He wants to figure out who could possibly be behind this new group of bad guys in Gotham City. And so he heads over to the GCPD to go interrogate White Rabbit, except when he gets there, well, Batman is there as well because Batman found out that Damien had skipped school and knew where he'll be at next, which is the prison cell for White Rabbit. Now, here our heroes realize that maybe, just maybe, she has information about who had hired her. And so if they're able to interrogate her, they can learn what's actually going on in Gotham City. But here comes the big problem. You see, when they do walk into her cell, she's being held as a hostage at gunpoint by our new character known as Shush. Now, as we get into the third chapter, just like the second chapter, we do get another flashback. Now, this flashback is really more about when Damien first joined Bruce Wayne to live at Wayne Manor. And back then, when it came to Damien, he truly believed that he knew everything. Like, there was nothing else left for him to learn. And so, because of that, you had Alfred and Bruce trying to tell Damien that you are completely wrong. That when it comes to life, there's always room to learn more things about different things when it comes to living on Earth. And so that moment right there kind of shows that it began the process of Alfred beginning to teach Damien different things about life, like tea. But getting back over to the present day, we do pick up with Batman and Robin fighting against Shush and also, well, the Terrible Trio. Now, Batman, he goes after our new character, and the reason why, because she looks very similar to Hush. And so for Batman, he believes that she's working with Hush. Now, like I said, at first, you would believe in the possibility that this is going to be DC trying to hold she is the lost daughter of Hush or something like that, or she has some huge connections to Hush. But in reality, right now, in these pages, she's not working for him at all. And matter of fact, when you have Batman being able to lock her up in a cell, you have her say, listen, you may have me locked up, but I have placed bombs all around the building. And sooner or later, this place is going to blow up. And on top of that, there are still innocent people like guards in the building you probably want to save. So while you have Batman trying to handle the bombs, you still have Robin trying to help out White Rabbit to fight against the Terrible Trio. Now, technically, the two characters are able to work together to bring down the Terrible Trio. But here comes the problem. You see, Shush was able to break out of her cell that Batman had put her in. And so she has guns and she starts shooting up the place. And so she was able to grab White Rabbit and get out of the building, but also making sure that Robin was pinned down. And so you have Damien call up Bruce like, hey, they got the White Rabbit. Now for Batman, like I said, he's trying his best to handle the bombs, which he was able to do. But you do have our two heroes being able to regroup outside the building. Now you do have our heroes go their separate ways because you do have Batman being able to follow Shush in a different vehicle while holding on to White Rabbit, and you have Robin trying to follow behind Terrible Trio back to the base of the bad guys. Now, when it comes to Batman, we do see him being able to chase down Shush, and but also blowing up her vehicle. She does survive, but still also being able to grab White Rabbit and get her away from Shush. Now, for Batman, he wants to know who is the actual leader of the group, because again, he still believes it could be Hush, it could be Tommy, his old childhood friend. But as we jump over to Robin, we learn that no, it's not Hush at all. Now, like I said earlier, Killer Croc left, but the reason why he left because, well, he's over in the Poison Ivy book. But Man Bat, we were kind of left to believe that something had happened to him because earlier we saw Man Bat try to fly away with the doctor, and the doctor is there with the terrible trio. Well, we come to find out the actual leader of the group is Man Bat. Man Bat is the leader of the group, and right now it's him trying to get rid of Batman, claiming that Batman has stole the symbol of Gotham. But as we get into the final chapter, we get another flashback. Now, this flashback is really more of us seeing Robin once again being trained by the League, but also being trained by Mistress Harsh. Now, remember, she's a new character, but she's trying to basically have Robin not have feelings at all. And it kind of shows why Damian is like that because of her. And so, in one of their training sessions, while he's fighting against a group of ninjas, she's asking him questions, and he is able to answer every single question correctly, and also being able to take down all the enemies that was thrown at him all at once. But she says horrible, and the reason why, he moves too slow, and she begins to talk down to him. Now for Robin, she has no right to talk down to him because she is just his teacher, a servant basically when it comes to her place in the League. And so she hated the idea that he snapped back at her and talked down to her. And so she slaps him right in the face. As she does that, Talia appears. Now for Talia, she hates the idea that somebody just touched her son. And when it comes to Mistress Harsh, she has no permission to touch the son of Talia al Ghul. And so for that, she has to be punished. But it's up to Damian to decide if she should be punished. And so for Damian, he's all like, yeah, I'm done with her. Get her out of here. Now for Mistress Harsh, she hates the idea that Damian had decided her punishment. Now we're kind of left to believe that she was killed off, but it's comics. We already know she's not dead, and you'll see who she is at the very end of this video. But as we get back into the present day, this is where I kind of say the story falls apart because even though it is Man Bat kind of being used as this mastermind type bad guy, again, this is where the story falls apart because you have Man Bat tell Robin that when it comes to Gotham, Gotham has been home to many bats for many years. And so it kind of felt like that Gotham symbol was the bats, but also seemed like Gotham was calling out for a hero. And so they got Batman. But for Man Bat, he's saying that actually Batman is the pretender. He stole that symbol. He had no right to actually steal that symbol. That technically it should have been Man Bat as the hero of Gotham City. And so his goal now is to get rid of Batman and then be the new hero of Gotham City. That's why I say the story kind of falls apart. I'm like, why will we do this to this character? Because honestly, it makes sense, yes, but like it's kind of not that great for me. But hey, the story goes on. Either way, you do have Batman appear to save Robin, and it leads into a battle in good versus evil. Now, we can't forget that earlier when it came to Batman, that he was affected by some kind of gas that basically attracts the bats of Gotham. And so when he does arrive at the battle, it's now him being attacked by a group of bats all at once again. Now, while that's happening, you have Man Bat grab Shush and they try to get away, which they do get away actually. But do you have Batman being able to kind of get rid of all the bats once again? They save White Rabbit and they also save the Doctor as well. But now the question is, when is Man Bat going to come back and try to attack our heroes again in this series? Now, as you have the story begin to wind down, we do see the Doctor tell Batman and Robin that he's very concerned for the terrible trio. And the reason why, because earlier I had mentioned the fact that when it came to the terrible trio, originally they were just humans who would commit crimes in Gotham, but they would wear animal masks. Well, it seems like that Man Bat had did something to their DNA to the point where now technically they're acting more like animals, and they're becoming full of rage as well. And the question is right now, has Man-Bat done this to other people out there across Gotham City? And if he does, where are they? But on top of that, will he continue these kinds of experiments in Gotham City? Now, as we jump over to the final part of the book, we do see Bruce Wayne walking Damian back over to school like, hey, you're going to stay here. Like, you're going to school no matter what. But when they do arrive, you have Bruce Wayne run into Miss Hall. Now, at first, I believe that Miss Hall was actually Mistress Harsh from Damian's past. But Damian says, no, it's actually the Principal Stone, which means that the next story arc could be some issues down the road between him and his principal. But this is where we are going to end today's comic book video. So please leave me a like down below and subscribe. But guys, see y'all next time. Later. What's going on there, YouTube? Welcome back to another comic book video. Okay, so we're going to continue our coverage over the Dawn of DC. Now, technically, Dawn of DC is over, but I still want to go ahead and cover some things that lead into the new all-in initiative for DC Comics. Now, with that being said, when it comes to today's video, we're going to shift our focus over to the Batman and Robin series. Now, for Batman and Robin, the Dawn of DC, it was really more of DC Comics trying to get these two characters back together again. And what I mean by that statement is that when it came to Damian Wayne and Bruce Wayne, after Alfred had died back in Tom King's run of Batman, these two characters were no longer able to see eye to eye with one another. And so when it came to the Dawn of DC, it was really more of, okay, let's get these two characters back on track. Let's try to get these two characters back to working together so that we are able to get the return of the dynamic duo. Now, for Batman and Robin, it's really more of Bruce Wayne just trying to be that father figure for Damian, because in the past, for Bruce, he always had Alfred by his side to play that middleman between the two characters. But Alfred is gone now. And so for Bruce, he has to step up and be that father figure for Will this time for Damian Wayne. Wayne. Whew. My bad there. But for Bruce Wayne, it's all like, hey, Damian, you got to go to high school. Hey, Damian, I want you to have friends. I want you to have somewhat of a normal life. Now, with that being said, when it comes to Damian, he does go to high school. But the problem is his principal is actually Mistress Harsh, somebody who used to train him when he was back at the League of Shadows, the League of Assassins. And so for right now, it's Damian saying, okay, you know what, Dad? Even though I hate the school, I'm going to stay here because I got to figure out what in the world is she here for? Is this some kind of plan to get at me? And so as we get into the opening pages for today's video, we do pick up with Bruce Wayne being what seems to be part of the PTA, because right now the school is having soccer tryouts. And so while having the tryouts, they're able to bring all their different family members to have pancakes, to kind of enjoy one another's company. But you have Bruce Wayne going out of his way to help serve everyone there. To me, it kind of seems like he's part of the PTA. Now, with that being said, for Damian, he hates the idea of his dad being here. But Bruce said, like, son, I told you last night that I would be here. And so this leads into a flashback. And so with the flashback, we do pick up with Batman and Robin going after a character known as Orca. Now, when it comes to Orca, she was in our last video, but she was working alongside with the character known as Man-Bat. Now remember, for Man-Bat, he now has this new goal where he wants to get rid of Bruce Wayne, really more of Batman. And the reason why, because he believes that Batman has stolen the bat symbol and basically has been using it incorrectly. To him, Batman has not done anything great for the city at all. And so for Man-Bat, it's about time to take that symbol away from Batman and use that symbol correctly and do great things for the city of Gotham. But with that being said, our heroes cannot find Man-Bat. And so they're trying to go after Orca to figure out where in the world is Man-Bat at. Now for Orca, she tells our heroes that she has no idea where are they or what they are planning. The only reason why she had worked with Man-Bat is because, well, she's like, they're just like me. They're creatures. And I love the idea of being with people who are just like me. Now, after that, you did have Batman tell Robin, like, hey, I'll be at your school tomorrow. Now, for Robin, it's a no-go. Like, hey, stay away. But for Batman, it's more of no. You're saying your old principal was your old instructor when you were part of the league. But on top of that, we may believe that she could be Shush. Had a hard time saying, I don't know why. But Shush is a new character who's like a female version of Hush. But either way, they believe that Principal Stone is Shush. And before we jump into the present day, we do get an entire week of what Damian's life was in high school. And so in that entire week, he was not really able to collect any kind of information on his principal, but at the same time, he's still trying to adjust to the idea of being in school, actually. So it's kind of hard for him. But as we get back into the present day, it's Bruce Wayne saying like, no, son, I gave you an entire week to collect information on your principal, but unfortunately, you were not able to get anything at all that could possibly help us to figure out, is she your old instructor when you're with the league? Now, with that being said, for Damian, he just walks away and he goes to his notepad to do some drawings. Now, in that moment, he does get confronted by the school bully. Now, the school bully, his name is Shay. Now, for Shay, he is the team captain for the soccer team. Now, the soccer team is really important for today's video, but before we are able to jump into the reason why it's so important, we do see the two characters right now butting heads with one another. But luckily for Damian, somebody does step in to send Shay away. And that would be the character known as Erica. Now, when it comes to Erica, she was able to use the name Principal Stone as a way to send Shay away because Shay is the team captain. He would hate the idea of losing his starting position because he's being a bully. And so he just walks away. Now, this gives Erica the chance to talk to Damian. Now, we're kind of left to believe that these two characters could at least become friends or possibly become boyfriend and girlfriend. We don't know yet. But for Erica, she does tell us more about this school. She does tell us that this school used to have a very high crime rate. Most of the kids who used to graduate will become criminals, become henchmen for big supervillains across Gotham City, like the Joker, Two-Face, the Riddler, and the list goes on. But apparently, ever since Stone has gotten here and has been able to install different programs for the kids to go be a part of, the crime rate has dropped. But most of the school, they are really loving the idea of the soccer team. They all want to be involved in some kind of way. Now, for Bruce Wayne, while you have Damian just watching the soccer practice or soccer tryouts, you have Bruce being able to talk to Miss Heather. Now, Miss Heather is one of the many teachers for Damian Wayne. And so for Miss Heather, she's telling him like, hey, your son is really smart. And really, you should probably go ahead and start putting in some college courses because honestly, that mind of his should not be held back in just high school. Like you should go ahead and try to test him out of high school and get him into college. But it's Bruce Wayne saying like, well, yes, he's really smart, but I kind of want him to have some friends and have a normal life at least. But while you have the two characters talking to one another, she points out that Damian is, well, trying out for the soccer team. And so we did get a few pages of just seeing Damian just out there being a great soccer player, which honestly, there's no surprise there because it's Damian Wayne. Like the dude has been trained in so many ways of how to kill people, how to fight, that honestly would not surprise me that he'll be so great at soccer. But either way, while out there on the field showing almost everybody up, when it comes time for him to take a shot towards the goal, it does get stopped by the goalie. But the thing is, the way the goalie has stopped the ball for Damien, he can't believe it got blocked. He's kind of like, there's something off about this character. Now, for this goalie, he goes to the goalpost and he scratches off another tally mark. Now, that right there should give you a hint of where the story is possibly going to go towards. Because now you have Damian Wayne and Bruce Wayne out at night being Batman and Robin. But while out there for Batman, he tells Damian that he feels like Stone is not his old instructor when he was part of the League. But for Robin, he is not ready to give up just yet. And matter of fact, he has two different pieces that he can now use as a way to figure out if Stone is his old instructor. That first piece is now being part of the soccer team, being part of her supposed inner circle. But that other piece is the idea of that goalie. Because remember, he put a tally mark on the goal post. And so for Damien, he realized there's something off about that kid. And so you have Batman and Robin trail the kid to his warehouse. And where they're able to look inside the window, they see that this man has some kind of shrine for Victor Zsasz. And he calls Victor Zsasz his father. So we're kind of left to believe that this is the son of Victor Zsasz. And so as we get into the second chapter of this story arc, the final chapter, we do pick up with Batman and Robin telling us that they have been watching this character Zach for a week now. A week since the ending of the last chapter of this video. Now, Zach is the name of the guy who is basically obsessed with Victor Zsasz. But with that being said, we also learn that for Batman and Robin, they can't find any records of Zach before he had arrived at the high school that Damien is at. So the question is right now, where is he actually from? Is it true that he could be the son of Victor Zsasz? Either way, this is the first time Zach has ever missed a day of school. And the reason why? Because Victor Zsasz is supposed to go to court. And so it seems like Zach might try to help Victor get free so that they can work together to commit crimes across Gotham City. And so for the second chapter, we do pick up with Batman and Robin arriving at the courthouse where you have Victor Zsasz but to go into court. Now, as he walks up the steps to the courthouse, that is when there's a huge explosion. And of course, it is Zach trying to free what we're left to believe is his father. Now, with that being said, you do have Batman and Robin jump into battle to fight against Victor Zsasz and also Zach. Now, here's the thing, because while you have the two sides fighting against each other, for Zsasz, he has no idea why in the world Zach is trying to help him to fight against Batman and Robin. But for Victor Zsasz, he is okay with the idea of accepting some help from Zach. Now, as the battle goes on, Robin is able to easily take down Zach. But then you have Victor Zsasz take Zach as a hostage. Now, in the middle of this part right here, you have Zach mention the fact that he is the son of, well, Victor Zsasz. But the problem is for Victor, he's all like, hold up, wait a second. You're telling me you're my son? No, there's no way, because I have no kids. By the way, I hate kids. If I had a kid like you, I would want you gone in a heartbeat. And so it's the book telling us that once again, we have been tricked into believe that a different bad guy could possibly have a child out there, because in the last volume, we were left to believe that Shush is Hush's daughter. But in reality, she could not be his daughter. Kind of like right now, that Zach is not the son to Victor Zsasz. Either way, you do have Batman and Robin take down Victor Zsasz. But once you have our heroes be able to take down Victor Zsasz, we do learn from Batman and Robin that Victor Zsasz had killed off the parents of Zach a while back. But Zach was put in foster care, but he ran away and changed his name. But on top of that, for Zach, he kind of blocked out the idea of what happened to his parents and began to be obsessed with Victor's ass to the point where he truly did believe that he was the son of Victor's ass. But in reality, he is not. But then the following day, we do pick up with Damian Wayne having a conversation, or really going to confront Principal Stone at the school. Now, when he does, it's him telling her, like, hey, I know your true identity. I know who you truly are. I know that you are my old instructor. I know that you are Shush coming after Batman and Robin. I know your true identity. Now, for Stone, she plays it off like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I believe that you may be confused with somebody else, but in reality, I'm not those people. And she walks away. And so we're kind of left to believe in the possibility that Batman and Robin might be wrong here when it comes to Stone. Now, after she walks away, unfortunately for Damian, he is then confronted by the school bully. Now, this scene right here is very short-lived, but you do have a school bully basically talk about the artwork that Damian does do in his journal. And so for Bruce, he had no idea that his son is basically an artist. And so once you have Damian and Bruce get back home to their brownstone, this is the moment where you have Bruce come to find out like, oh, Damian, you love art. Like, you love anime. You love creating manga. Like, this is amazing. And so it's a very sweet moment because it's now Bruce learning more about Damian. It's kind of like, okay, we're continuing the whole idea of Bruce having to be that father for Damian because, again, there's no middleman. Alfred is gone. They have to actually work together as father and son, as Batman and Robin, but as Bruce Wayne and Damian Wayne. Now, you did have an alarm go off on Bruce's watch, and apparently he had set up alarms at different locations in the past that Man-Bat used to use. And so one of the locations is currently setting an alarm off. And so you have Batman and Robin leave. And so once our heroes do arrive at that location, we kind of find out that Man-Bat was able to create a cult following. And so now all of these different people truly believe that Batman has stolen the bat symbol. It's time for the bat symbol to go to where it belongs. Man-Bat, not Batman. But before you have Batman and Robin being able to take down this cult, out of nowhere, somebody attacks the different members of this cult. And we kind of find out it is Flatline, an old friend, quotation marks, of Damian Wayne. And this is going to get very interesting in the next video. But this is where we're going to end today's comic book video. So please leave me a like down below and subscribe. But guys, see y'all next time. Later. Okay, so getting back into our coverage over the dawn of DC, we do pick up once again with Batman and Robin. Now, we're only covering a two-part story arc that takes place in issue number 7 and issue number 8. Now, with that being said, this is a two-part story arc where we're now bringing in another character who's very close to Robin, Damian Wayne, and that would be the character known as Flatline. Now, I'll try my best to explain who Flatline is later on in this video, but for right now, just know that for Flatline, she played a huge role in the Robin solo series back in, I want to say, 2020 up to 2021. I could be wrong in the year that series came out, but for Damian Wayne, her and him got very close, almost like boyfriend and girlfriend. So her being back in the picture right now is kind of like, oh, where could this possibly go? Could we see Damian finally with somebody like Flatline? Because they did kiss in that Robin solo series. But before we're able to actually sit down and talk about why Flatline's in Gotham City, we have to jump over to Man-Bat. Now remember, Man-Bat is the main bad guy of this series so far. And right now, his main goal is to replace Batman because he feels like Batman has stolen the symbol of Gotham City, the whole idea of the bat symbol. But he also feels like it was his destiny to become the hero of Gotham by using the bat symbol. And so right now we're seeing Man-Bat being able to build up a cult of people who are also kind of tired of Batman, but also believe in the idea that Man-Bat should be the one in charge of protecting Gotham City. And so that cult right now, the numbers are growing. More and more people are now joining that cult. Now, let's not forget, for Man-Bat, he's not on his own. He also has a partner, and that'll be the character known as Shush. Now, we don't know much about this character just yet. All we truly know about her is that she may have some kind of connections to Hush, an old bad guy for Batman, but for right now, she also wants to see Batman be taken down. And so she had no choice but go ahead and team up with Hush as a way to deal with Batman, but also deal with Robin. But the problem with Shush right now is that she's getting very tired of the fact that they have not made a move on Bruce Wayne a good while. She feels like right now the cult of people behind him, but also everything else they had gathered together, they should be able to take Batman down at this exact moment. But you have Man-Bat say, no, when it comes to Batman, you cannot just simply kill him off. You have to slowly bring him down to your level and then kill him off. Over to the heroes of the book. That'll be Batman and Robin, of course. Now, at the end of our last video, we saw the return of a character known as Flatline. Now, when it comes to Flatline, we saw her on Lazarus Island. By the way, I had no idea that Lazarus Island is actually a real island in the real world. I thought it was just a made-up name for a made-up island in DC Comics. Either way, though, when it comes to Flatline, she has the ability to absorb other people's fighting skills once they have died. Now, when it came to Flatline, she was a sidekick for a different character known as Lord Deathman. Now, Lord Deathman is not really important for today's video. Just know that he's a big crime lord over in Japan. Now, like I said earlier, when it comes to Flatline and also Robin, when they were on Lazarus Island, they got very close to one another. I'm talking about very close. And so with her being here, it's kind of like, hey, are you here for Robin or are you here for something else? And she tells both Batman and Robin that she's here for her lost sister, Mila. Either way, when it comes to Flatline, she tells us that after she had gained her ability from her grandfather, and after she had to go train with Lord Deathman, years had passed by, and she got a letter from her mother. Now, when it came to the letter, it's her mom saying like, listen, your sister has disappeared. Can you find her? And so for Flatline, she was able to track down where her sister could possibly be yet, somewhere in Gotham City. And so that is why she is here, to ask Damian and maybe Batman to help out. Really just Damian, that's it. And so for Batman, he's kind of like, you know what? I heard about you. You're Flatline. You're the sidekick to a well-known criminal. But at the same time, seeing my son happy, seeing my son have a friend, seeing my son possibly having a girlfriend is really great for me. So you know what? Yeah, I'm going to allow Damian to help you find your missing sister. But I have one rule. There's no killing. And so just like that, you have Robin and Flatline begin to look for her missing sister. Now, before you have Robin and also Flatline go to look for the missing sister, you have Flatline realize that Robin is now in good terms with his father. And matter of fact, I have been saying this a lot in my last couple videos. When it came to the dawn of DC, it was kind of like DC was trying to fix all their mistakes in the last few years, to bring back concepts fans actually care for and bring in new concepts that fans may care for. But when it came to Batman and Robin, some fans out there truly missed the idea of seeing Bruce being a father to Damian Wayne, seeing the dynamic duo, because after Alfred had died, these two characters were unable to see eye to eye with one another. And so going into the dawn of DC, going into Batman and Robin the series, it said, hey, you know what? Let's go ahead and fix that. Let's go ahead and bring back the fact these two characters should be the dynamic duo, should be the father and son combo. And so just like that, we had these two characters finally back together again. Now, you have Damian tell Flatline that at first it was kind of rocky, but over time, these two characters have been able to rebuild their bond with one another, but that bond is also getting stronger than it was in the past. But we kind of get the idea that for Flatline, she's kind of jealous of Robin because at least Robin has some chances to have a normal life out there, unlike her. Because for her, it's 24/7 being a sidekick for a well-known criminal, a well-known crime lord over in Japan. And so for her, it's kind of like, man, I'm a tad bit jealous. Now, we also see the spirit of Raja Ghul talking to her. Now, Raja Ghul is calling her a liar, but the whole idea that she wants a normal life or possibly something else. But at the same time, you have the spirit of Raja Ghul telling her that she needs to hurry up. Now, for Damien, he cannot see the spirit at all. And so he's kind of confused on who in the world is she talking to. But moving on, you did have Mila tell Robin that she does have a clue. She has this nickname for a certain bartender. Now for Robin, he knows where that bartender actually works at, the Iceberg Lounge, the old club that belonged to the Penguin. Either way, you do have our two characters head over there. Now, when they do arrive there, they do find a gang of people trying to move weapons throughout the whole club. So you have our two heroes, or characters, because Flatline is not a hero yet, and you have the two characters fight against the gang. Now, at the very end of this section, for Flatline, she was able to find her sister, but we kind of find out that her sister is the one in charge of this gang. But now we have to transition back over to Batman. Now, when we do, it's really more of Batman being able to grab one of the members of the cult. Now, for Batman, he wants to know why this guy had joined the cult. Because this guy here, he has no criminal record. He is divorced, but no children, and lived his entire life in Gotham, but never been in any kind of trouble. And so for Batman, it's kind of like, dude, why are you part of the cult? You hear the guy say, because it's time for us to take back the city. It's time for us to take back the symbol that you have stolen, Batman. Now, on top of that, he also says that Man-Bat offered him the chance to become stronger. And that right there is really important because we see the guy pull out a pill that is supposedly supposed to make him stronger. But then when he takes the pill, the guy dies right in front of Batman. But now Batman knows that when it comes to Man-Bat, he's trying to produce some kind of drug that could possibly make people stronger. But right now, the drug is not perfect. The drug had just killed an innocent man. Not innocent, I guess, but a man who was just part of the cult for the heck of it, really. But now he is dead in front of Batman. And this leads into the end of the first chapter of today's video because we do see Batman being very upset about the fact that man has now died in front of him thanks to Man-Bat. But then Batman is confronted by good old Shush. And she said, Man-Bat lied to me as well. And I feel like we should work together to bring him down. Now we have to jump into the second chapter for today's video, where we do kind of jump back over to Robin and Flatline. Now, you have Mila basically tell us that the reason why she had disappeared because after their grandfather had died, she began to do some research on him and kind of find out that grandpa was not just some random serial killer. He was an assassin. He was a paid killer. And so because of that, it kind of led her to believing that she could pick up where her grandfather had left off at. But she also realized the best kind of weapons would all be in Gotham City because the Joker, Mr. Freeze, and the list goes on. And so that is why she's in Gotham to get weapons, but she was also able to build up an army of gang members to have a force in Gotham City. Now she's kind of hoping in the possibility that Flatline will join her. Now for Robin, he also kind of believes that Flatline will be on his side and they're going to work together to bring down Mila. Well, you see, one of the two characters has to be wrong here. And that character is Robin. You actually have Flatline double-cross Robin to help Mila stop him, but to also get away with all those weapons as well. But let's jump back over to Batman, also Shush, because for Batman, he's kind of wondering why in the world should he work with Shush? Now, let's also not forget that for Batman and Robin, they still believe in the possibility that Shush could be the same principal at Damien's new high school, Principal Stone. And so you have Batman ask her like, hey, what is your interest in my son? And she says, I cannot tell you everything at once, but just know that I can show you the base of Man-Bat for now. And so you have Batman kind of agree to follow her over to the base of Man-Bat. Now, while they are leaving, they have no idea that they were being watched by another member of the cult. And that member of the cult calls over to Man-Bat. So we're kind of left to believe in the possibility that this could be a trap, at least for Batman alone. But let's jump back over to Robin, because right now you have Robin trying his best to chase after Flatline and also her sister as well. Now, for Robin, I kind of felt like at first this was going to be a huge heartbreaking moment for him because he actually does have somewhat of a crush on Flatline. And so to see her being a bad guy, but also betraying his trust, it's kind of hard on him. But either way, he's still a hero. But by the time we get to the end of this section, we kind of find out that Flatline planned on double-crossing her sister as well to help Robin to actually capture her, but to also get the rest of her gang. But the question is right now, why in the world did Flatline just portray her own sister? And it's because she made a deal with the DEO. She kind of knew that her sister was part of a gang, and she wanted to make sure that her sister did not fall into the same life that she's in at the moment. And so she had no choice but to earlier double-cross Robin and then double-cross her sister so that they'll be able to actually capture her. Now, for me personally, I'm kind of like, you could have took her down back at the club, but whatever. Now, for Robin, he is kind of hurt that she did not tell him about the deal or her plan at all. He kind of feels like he was also betrayed once again when it comes to his trust. But it's also her saying like, listen, I still care for you, and I also want to stay in Gotham and kind of help you with your cases. And so now we see that for Flatline, she'll be in Gotham for a good while and be helping out Batman and Robin to stop Man-Bat. But getting back over to Batman, also Shush, they do arrive to what she believed was the base of Man-Bat. And the reason why I say what she believed, because when they do arrive, they don't find Man-Bat nor his cult. They have dipped out very quickly and took all their equipment as well. And so now we realize that she also been played by Man-Bat. He knew that sooner or later she might betray him. Now for Batman, he does find a map that was left behind by Man-Bat. Now the question is for Batman, what in the world does this map truly mean? Because yes, he knows all those different tunnels in the underground parts of Gotham, but he has no idea why Man-Bat is trying to use those tunnels. Now, you have Batman ask her again, where is Man-Bat? And unfortunately, she does not have an answer. Now, she also feels like the cult is completely gone. But you have Batman say, no, the cult is still here. And this leads into a battle between Batman and Shush fighting against the cult of Man-Bat. Now, for Batman, he tells her, hey, get the heck out of here. Like, go save yourself. Now, for Shush, she's down with the idea of just leaving him behind because, again, she wanted Batman dead. And so with the possibility of him dying, she's down with the idea of leaving him behind. But while she's leaving, she's then attacked by Man-Bat. Now, for Man-Bat, he is very angry in the fact that she did betray him. But at the same time, she's kind of like, hey, listen, I did this for you. I brought Batman here for you. Now, for Man-Bat, he does say that he does appreciate the fact that she did bring Batman over here. But again, he's not ready to kill off Batman just yet. He wants to ruin the image of Batman. And so for that to happen, there's some work to be done first. And so you have Batman trying his best to protect Shush. But for Man-Bat, he's kind of like, I don't get you. She want to see you die, and you still go out of your way and try to protect her? That's wild. Now for Batman, he wants to know again, what in the world is Man-Bat actually up to? And so you have Man-Bat grab Batman and they just disappear. They fly away. You're kind of like, wait a second, where did Batman just go to with Man-Bat? But the ending of the story arc is really more of Robin kind of realized that Batman had disappeared. Now, we don't know how long it has been since Batman has been gone, but it has been the following day, it seems like, because you now have Damian at the school. And right now, he has a new classmate. And we see Flatline is there as well, because remember, she did say that she wants to help out when it comes to his cases. And so for her, this is the best way to help out. And so in the next story arc, we're going to see Flatline and Robin going to school together. But this is where we're going to end today's comic book video. So please leave me a like down below and subscribe. But guys, see y'all next time. Later. Okay, so I kind of want to get back into our coverage over the dawn of DC. Now, like I said a few videos ago, even though we now have the new All-In initiative with DC Comics, I still want to cover some dawn of DC stuff that lead into the whole All-In initiative that DC has started. And so with that being said, we're going to continue our coverage over the whole Dawn of DC Batman and Robin series. You see, when it came to the dawn of DC for Batman and Robin, it was one of the goals that DC had where it's like, hey, let's bring back the dynamic duo of Batman and Robin, that father and son combo between Bruce Wayne and Damian Wayne, because after you had Alfred be killed off a while back, the two characters were unable to see eye to eye with one another. They're always kind of away from each other for so many different reasons, but the main one was Alfred's death. It really did bother Damian and also bother Bruce Wayne as well. But when it came to the dawn of DC, the main goal was to, hey, listen, let's bring back things fans loved and let's try new things that fans might love. And so for Dawn of DC, it was like, hey, listen, I'm pretty sure some people out there love the idea of seeing Batman with Robin, but also with his son, Damian Wayne. Now, we had Batman with Tim Drake, and honestly, there were some fans out there who love the idea of seeing Batman with Tim Drake. But again, you still have some fans out there who love the idea of Batman being with Damian Wayne, his son, that father and son combo. And so they had to bring the two characters back together. Now, for the Batman and Robin series in the Dawn of DC, it was the two characters working together to bring down a character known as Man-Bat. Now, for Man-Bat, over the years in DC Comics, you had DC try so many different things to hopefully make the character a better person or a better character to be used in different comics besides Batman. Like, for example, he was part of the Justice League Dark team that was being led by Wonder Woman. But again, that was in the past. Now for Man-Bat, he had died, but had recently came back to life. But here's the catch. He's now completely different. His main goal right now is to kill off Batman, but he does have an actual reason to kill off Batman, because he believes that Batman has stolen the symbol of Gotham City, the whole idea of the bat symbol, because he believes that he was destined to be the hero of Gotham City, because he is Man-Bat, and that symbol belonged to Gotham and him. And so it's now time for him to get rid of Batman so that he can be the hero the city deserves. Now, in our last video, we saw that Man-Bat was able to, well, kidnap Batman. Now, he told Batman that he's going to show him what he is trying to achieve, his overall goal with the whole idea of trying to be the hero that Gotham deserves. And so, as we dive into issue number 9, the first chapter for today's video, we pick up with Batman still being a hostage for Man-Bat. Now, again, for Man-Bat, he's trying to say that after he had came back to life, he had evolved. He had changed. Now, by the end of this storyline, we're going to get a better idea of what he meant by that statement. But for Man-Bat, he said over the years, he would just be there listening to the other villains of Batman talk about the character in so many different ways. Like, for example, the whole idea that Batman has a bat cave. And so you have Man-Bat is showing us that he now also has a bat cave as well. Now, also in our last video, we saw that Man-Bat had given one of his cult members a new kind of drug that he is testing out. That's right, guys. For Man-Bat, he has a cult following him. They believe in everything he believes in. The cult of the Man-Bat. Now, like I said, in our last video, he gave one of his followers a new kind of drug and told that follower, like, hey, listen, this drug will give you the ability to be stronger. It was a flat out lie. It was some new kind of poison that he was testing out and killed that person off. And so for Batman, he's kind of like, what are you trying to achieve? You have people that truly believe in you. They are truly following you. And now you're killing them off with your new type of drugs. But for Man-Bat, it's all like, listen, I have a goal to achieve and I will achieve that goal. Now, I want to transition over to Damian Wayne because for Damian, he's still trying his best to attend school. You see, in the earlier parts of this series, for Bruce Wayne, he was trying his best to reconnect with his son. But at the same time, he wants to make sure that his son has the ability to have a normal life, to go to school, make friends. And so for Damian Wayne, he has to attend school. Now, at first, he hated the idea of going to school, but then he realized there's something wrong with the principal, Principal Stone. And the reason why, because he recognized her as Mistress Harsh. Now, Mistress Harsh was his old instructor when he was being trained by the League of Assassins. Now, she was fired for basically treating Damian wrong in the eyes of Talia al Ghul. And so for Damian, he had believed that she had died back then. But in reality, she did not die. She survived and she became principal at this school. But he's trying to prove that it is her. Now, at the same time, though, for Damian Wayne, he's also with Flatline. Now, Flatline is a character we had talked about before. You see, for Flatline, she's one of those characters that came very close to Robin in his own solo series a couple years ago. But she is the sidekick for another character known as Lord Deathman, who is a crime lord over in Japan. But either way, when it came to Damian's last Robin series, these two characters were able to build a bond with one another. Now, she came to Gotham for two reasons. The first, her missing sister had reappeared in Gotham, but also because she has the spirit of Ra's al Ghul following her. Now, she did not tell Damian the whole idea of Ra's al Ghul's spirit following her, but she did get help from Damian to find her missing sister. But again, she also has a crush on Damian and wants to help him out. And so right now, they're trying their best to prove that Miss Stone is actually his old instructor. Now, for Damian and also Flatline, they were able to start a food fight in the cafeteria. Now, with them doing that, they get detention. And that gives Damian and Flatline just good enough amount of time alone with Principal Stone to officially pull the truth out of her. Now, we do learn here that for Miss Stone, after she was let go by the League of Assassins for not being a good instructor for Damian, she came over here to be a principal. It's more easier to have people fall in line with her ideas, with her rules. Now, once you have Damian being able to pull the truth out of her, we do learn that all the different bullies we saw in the earlier story arcs are kind of like her lackeys at the school. But either way, you do have Damian and also Flatline being able to take down all the bullies that easily. Now, for Miss Stone here, she's also taken out by another character, and that would be Miss Hall. Now, in the earlier parts of this series, we met Miss Hall a few times, and at first, it kind of seemed like Miss Hall was just a teacher who truly cared for Damian Wayne like a good teacher is supposed to. But kind of find out that really Miss Hall is actually Shush. Now, Shush was a new character created in this storyline, and at first we were kind of left to believe in the possibility that she has some major connection to the original character, Hush, like maybe his long lost daughter. Now, we do learn here, no, she is not the daughter of Hush at all. You see, for Miss Hall, right after she had finished medical school, she had found a mentor, and that mentor was no other than Thomas Elliot. Now, for Thomas Elliot, he was Hush. And so over the years, while he was still trying to show her all the different things she could possibly do in a operation room, he was also training her how to fight as well. But also, when it came to Miss Hall, because she had built that bond with Thomas Elliot, when he would just disappear to go out there to be Hush to hopefully bring down Batman, she would try her best to cover for him. Unfortunately, when Batman had taken Hush down, it was revealed to be Thomas Elliot. It also got back to her because they realized that she was covering for him every single time he was out there fighting against Batman. And so she lost her license and she had no choice but to become a teacher. Now, she blames Batman for the fact that she had lost her job, that Thomas Elliot had lost his job as well. And so that is why she became Shush and she wanted to kill off the Batman. But once you had Batman in our last video save her life from the hands of Man-Bat, she realized that Bruce Wayne is not truly a bad person at all. And so now she wants to help Robin and Flatline be able to hopefully find Batman and save his life. For Robin, he was able to find the old base that belonged to, well, Man-Bat in the earlier parts of our videos when it came to this series. Now, with Robin, he also finds an old map that was left behind. Now, in our earlier videos when it came to Batman and Robin, Batman found the same map as well, but he had no idea what the map even meant. And so for Robin, he was able to realize what the map truly meant. It's the flight pattern of the bats in Gotham City. And so for Damian, he was able to realize that Man-Bat has a new type of poison to pass out to all the people of Gotham City by using the bats. Now, here's the catch, because once you have Robin being able to locate Batman and Man-Bat, it kind of seems like at first that's going to be just Robin trying his best to take down Man-Bat. And the reason why, because Batman is still trying to recover from whatever Man-Bat had did to him while Batman was, well, Man-Bat's hostage. But as we dive into the second chapter, we do pick up with Robin fighting against the different members of the cult of the Man-Bat. Now, once you have Robin being able to take down the different members of the cult, and you also have Batman being able to get away from Man-Bat, you have the two characters realize that they're going to have to work together to save Gotham City, but to also take down Batman. It brings back the whole idea of they are the dynamic duo. They're going to have to work together to accomplish the goal, to save Gotham. So you have Robin trying his best to find a way to stop the bats before they're able to spread the poison of Man-Bat across Gotham City, killing off many people, while you have Batman try to refocus and be able to bring down Man-Bat once and for all. But now we have to transition over to Flatline and Shush. Now for Flatline, she had taken Shush over to a nearby hospital. And the reason why, because in our last video, you had Shush team up with Batman to try to bring down Man-Bat and his cult. But she got severely injured by Man-Bat. And so with that injury, it's now catching up to her. And so Flatline had no choice but to go ahead and take her to a nearby hospital. Now with that being said, when it comes to Shush, she tells Flatline that she has a way to help Robin and Batman stop the bats, but to also stop Man-Bat. And so we see her hand Flatline something very important that could help our heroes save the day. Now, I want to transition back over to Batman, who's trying to bring down Man-Bat. And here's the reason why. Because while you have the two characters fighting against each other, it leads to the whole idea of what's going on with Man-Bat. And let me explain. So, over the years, when it came to Man-Bat, at first, he was just a regular scientist, better known as Kirk Langstrom. Now, when it came to Kirk Langstrom, he was working on some kind of serum that turned him into a Man-Bat. Now, here's the thing. When it came to Man-Bat and also Kirk Langstrom, it was like two different personas in one body. So he would never know what he did when he was Man-Bat. But now is Batman also Man-Bat kind of hinting at the idea that this new version of Man-Bat is a new persona. It's kind of like the Hulk, where you had the regular Savage Hulk, you have Bruce Banner, and then you have Gray Hulk. It's three different characters in one particular body. And so for Man-Bat, this darker version of Man-Bat is a whole brand new persona and giving Batman one heck of a challenge. But this is where you had the story kind of begin to wind down very fast and begin to move forward to the next storyline that you have the series want to tell us, which is that it's going to be Batman and Robin going after a different character. But before we see that happen, we do see that Flatline does arrive to give Robin the device that could possibly help them bring down Man-Bat and all the bats. And matter of fact, it's a gun. Now, this gun is going to hit Man-Bat with the same kind of poison or same kind of chemicals that is going to attract the bats over to him, and they begin to bite away at Man-Bat. Now, you would think like, okay, the toxins in the bat's bites should possibly kill him off. No, instead, it turns him right back into his regular human form, Kirk Langstrom. Now, like I said, for Kirk, he has no idea what happens when he turns into Man-Bat or this new persona. And so for him, he's kind of like, Batman, what in the world did I do? Now for Robin, he does freeze all the bats to hopefully find a way to cure them as well. But the day is saved now, our two heroes being able to bring down Man-Bat. But like I said, the story does begin to wind down very fast here because once you have our heroes being able to take down Man-Bat, it leads into the whole idea of where you have Principal Stone being arrested and all the different bullies who were her lackeys also being taken away as well. So the school is now going to be completely reformed. But on top of that, you have Langstrom being able to find a way to cure all the bats as well. But for Batman, he kind of realized that over the years, he only knew about two personas in the mind of Langstrom, Kirk Langstrom and Man-Bat. But it now seems like he could have others in there that are just locked away. And so now it's Batman saying, I have to work with Man-Bat to hopefully figure out what in the world is going on with his body. Now, this leads into Flatline being removed from the series for the time being, and the reason why, because she wants to protect Damian from herself, but also from the spirit of Ra's al Ghul. Now, she has not told Damian at all about the whole idea that she has the ghost of Ra's al Ghul following him for a special type of reason, but either way, she does say goodbye to Robin, and before he's able to get the answer that he's looking for, like, hey, why are you in Gotham besides for your sister? Did you come here for me? She dips out, and we see her talk to the ghost of Ra's al Ghul to say, hey, listen, I have to protect him from you. Like, that kid deserves to be well protected and have a good life. But you do see Batman and Robin being able to go back home, and then you see Batman had made dinner for Robin and him, which honestly is a huge thing for me. Like, yes, I know in the past we have seen Batman like make dinner for Robin or different members of the family, but it's really more special now because it's Bruce Wayne realizing that he does not have Alfred around to be that one to make dinner for him, to make lunch or breakfast. That is up to him to now make breakfast, dinner, and lunch for himself, but also for his children. Again, for me, it's kind of like it's Bruce Wayne realizing that he has to do more to be that father that Damian wants and Damian needs. Now, with all that being said, you didn't have our two heroes be confronted by Goliath, the good old pet I call for Damian Wayne, which I always love Goliath. But for Goliath, he has a message for Robin. And that would be Maya. Now, Maya Ducard is better known as Nobody. Now, when it comes to Maya, she has a very close bond with Damian Wayne. Now, with these two characters, when it came to Robin, he kind of gave her a mission, right? And it was to investigate the death of a certain person. Now, this is a callback to another point in time in DC Comics called the Infinite Frontier. And I want to say it was the Infinite Frontier where you had DC trying to relaunch once again and try to bring fans back into their comics. Either way, when it came to the Infinite Frontier, one of the things that happened was Arkham Asylum was just blown up. And so we're kind of left to believe at first that certain people who were in there had died, like Bane. And so for Maya, she tried her best to investigate the death of Bane because for Robin and her, they didn't believe he had truly died. And so now it's her saying like, hey, I found him. I found Bane. Bane, who is responsible for the death of Alfred. And so now it's kind of like, hey, Dad, Bruce Wayne, we got to go. We got to find him right now and bring Bane in. And so now it seems like we're going to see Batman and Robin go over to Dinosaur Island to bring Bane in. And this is where we're going to end today's comic book video. So please leave me a like down below and subscribe. But guys, I will see y'all in the next comic book video. Later. Okay, so getting back into our coverage over Batman and Robin, when it comes to our coverage over the Dawn of DC, we do pick up the last story arc for the Dawn of DC for Batman and Robin, leading into the all-in initiative that DC has at the moment for all their different books. Now, in our last video for Dawn of DC, Batman and Robin, we have saw our two heroes being able to take down Man-Bat once and for all. Now, after doing that, you did have Maya, a close friend of Robin, come to him and say, hey, listen, I found the one person that you have been looking for, and that would be Bane. Now, Bane is currently at Dinosaur Island, but let's not forget the reason why you have Damian want to go after Bane for, because back in Tom King's Batman, as we all know, Alfred was killed off at the very end of Tom King's run of Batman. And Alfred was killed off by, well, Bane, right in front of Damian Wayne. And so for Damian, it's all like, hey, listen, I've been trying my best to find Bane, and now I know where he is at. It's time for me to get my revenge. Now, the name kind of gives it away when it comes to what's going on with Dinosaur Island. The whole idea that you still have dinosaurs being able to survive on this island in today's time. But either way, you do have Batman and Robin arrive at Dinosaur Island. Now, for Batman and Robin, really more of Robin is all for getting revenge against Bane when it comes to this mission. But for Batman, it's really more of like, yes, he understands why Damian is going after Bane because Bane killed off Alfred, but it's also Batman want to make sure that Robin comes out of this okay. Because Bane is not somebody you can just run up on and hopefully take him down so easily. Bane will most likely kill you in a matter of seconds. He is well trained in fighting and also he's very good when it comes to strategy. And so it's Batman saying like, hey, Damian, you got to go in here with a cool head because if you don't, he will kill you. Now, for our two heroes, they do arrive on Dinosaur Island. They kind of run through some dinosaurs here and there, but once they do land very hard on the ground, they realize that they're being watched by somebody. And we kind of find out they're being watched by Maya. Now, Maya's code name is, well, Nobody. That's her actual code name. Now, for Nobody, she has this stealth suit that allows her to be invisible. But when it comes to Maya, she's very close friends with Robin. Now, when it came to Damian, he told her, like, hey, listen, I got a job for you. I need you to find Bane. I still believe he is somewhere out there. And the reason why I'm saying that, because back in Infinite Frontier, in the opening part of that DC era for comics, you had Arkham Asylum get blown up. And so we're left to believe that Bane was dead. But in reality, Bane was alive and well. Now, it was also DC trying to move away from Bane and they gave us his daughter, better known as Vengeance. And matter of fact, she does play a small role in the storyline. But either way, when it came to Damian, he knew that Bane was somewhere out there and somebody had to find him. And Maya did find Bane on Dinosaur Island. Now, this leads into Maya wondering if Batman and Robin are on good terms now because they arrived the island together. You see, when it came to Dawn of DC, their main goal was to bring back fans into their comics. As we all know right now, comics are struggling across the board. Now, there are a lot of different reasons, and matter of fact, I do not want to turn this into some kind of politic video. But either way, when it came to DC Comics, they were like, hey, we gotta get the fans back. What can we do? And so one of their main goal was to use old things that had fans intrigued when it came to DC Comics. Like, for example, Bruce Wayne and Damian Wayne when they were Batman and Robin together. Because after Alfred died, the two characters were not really on the same page at all anymore. And so when it came to Batman and Robin, it was able to re-establish that bond between Batman and Robin so that we can have the dynamic duo once again in DC Comics. And so for Maya, she realized that Batman and Robin are now on good terms with one another. Either way, later on, you do have Batman, Robin, and also Maya be able to find Bane. Now, this leads into the whole idea of Bane being different, and I don't know if I truly like it, but at the same time, the story is still pretty good for me, guys. Now, with that being said, once you have Batman, Robin, and also Maya find Bane, well, they also see the Cobra Cult. Now, the Cobra Cult is a very unique group of people. And matter of fact, they worship a snake god better known as the Kali Yuga. And I really hope I pronounced that correctly. Now, they're here for a different kind of reason and not for their snake god. But either way, we do see Bane fight against them. Now, for Batman and Robin, they're kind of like, wait a second. Is Bane good guy now? Like, is Bane trying to protect the dinosaurs? But you have my say, not really. When it comes to Bane, what he's doing right now is protecting his home. It's him right now claiming that Dinosaur Island is his island, and Cobra Cult do not have the right to be here without his permission. Now, while you have Bane fighting against the cult, you have Robin play a flashback in his mind. And that flashback is, of course, when you had Alfred be killed off by Bane. And so once that flashback is done in his mind, you have Damian say, you know what? It's time for me to get revenge against Bane. And he runs out there to hopefully take down Bane. And so the first chapter really ends with Robin just going straight towards Bane because to Robin, Bane got to go down today because that man killed off Alfred. Now for Batman, he knows how dangerous Bane is. He's all like, hey, Robin, slow your roll. But it's too late. Damian is already gone. Now for Maya and Batman, they try to follow Robin. The problem is Maya is surrounded by a bunch of dinosaurs. And for Batman, well, unfortunately, he is grabbed by no other than Vengeance, the daughter of Bane. And so as we dive into the second chapter, this is where you have the story begin to give us these small flashbacks where you have Damian think back to different moments of him and Alfred having different types of conversations. Like, for example, the first flashback is really more when, I guess, Selina Kyle had left Batman at the supposed altar after he had proposed to her. And we were left to believe that they're going to get married. And of course, they did not get married. But apparently, Batman's been really obsessed over Selina Kyle that he had lost focus when it came to people around him, like Damian Wayne. And so you had Damian leave the home of the Waynes because he felt like his father was no longer trying to be with him. Now, I kind of want to shift our focus over to Vengeance, and here's the reason why. Okay, so for Vengeance, she is the daughter of Bane, but like, not really. Let me explain. So for Vengeance, she is a clone of Bane that was created in a lab at Santa Prisca's prison. Now, thanks to that prison, they made her, but once she was grown enough, she went on her own mission to create a life for herself. But apparently, after a while, she found Bane when both characters were at their lowest. Now, for vengeance, she does tell Batman that the way Bane is now, that most likely Bane will let Batman and Robin leave with their lives. But for vengeance, no. Batman and Robin must die. Now, you do have Damian being able to get close enough to Bane to lead into a battle between those two characters, but we didn't get another flashback. And with this flashback, it's really more of Alfred trying to talk to Damien about the idea of having friends. And this takes place right at the very beginning of DC Rebirth, where you had DC put Damien alongside with Jonathan Kent when he was Superboy, but also put Damien on the Teen Titans as well. And of course, for Damien, he does not look at Jonathan at that point in time as a friend or the Teen Titans as friends either. And so it's Alfred saying, like, look at your father. Like, he's Batman, but he has friends. He has Aquaman, Superman, The Flash, Wonder Woman. You need people like he does in your corner for different types of situations that you might face down the road. And so as we get back to the present day, you have Robin fight against Bane. Now, Bane knew that sooner or later, Robin or even Batman might try to come after him because of what happened to Alfred. But it's also Bane pointing out that for Robin, he's not fighting like he's supposed to. And what Bane means by that is Bane right now seeing Robin fight with just anger inside of him, letting that anger take over his body and not trying to fight like a real fighter should be fighting, but at the same time you can tell that Dame is a tad bit too cocky and believing that he'll be able to easily take down Bane. But we get another flashback. Now, this flashback is really more when Batman had quote unquote died. I want to say right after Final Crisis, because it's the moment where you have Alfred telling Damian, like, hey, listen, you are going to be the next Robin. And so it's also another big moment for those two characters in the past of DC Comics. But getting over to the present day, we do pick up with Batman and Vengeance. Now, for Batman, he was able to realize that when it came to the cult of Cobra, they were holding on to Venom. And as we all know, when it comes to Venom, it's a type of drug that enhances your strength. And Bane is the main user of that drug in DC Comics. Now, here's the big catch. You see, for the cult of Cobra, what they are trying to do is create a new type of Venom where you get one dose but have enhanced strength for a long period of time. But here comes the big problem though. You see, when it comes to a new type of Venom, well, you might go into berserk mode and you might be unstoppable and might kill a lot of people. And so for Bane, he hated the idea of some kind of drug being out there where, yes, you might get enhanced strength, but you'll also be in berserk mode going crazy all over the place. Now, for the cult of Cobra, they believe that the dinosaurs on Dinosaur Island could be the key they need to finish off their new Venom. But the problem is Bane is not allowing them to use the dinosaurs to create this new type of Venom. Now, you do have Vengeance try to take out Batman, but at the very last second, he is saved by Maya. Now, the next section is amazing for me because you have Bane tell Robin as Robin's beating down on Bane that, hey, listen, I'm trying to embark on a new journey for myself. And the reason why he is saying that because for Bane, his entire life was kind of planned out for him, really kind of written for him to become the monster that he is in DC Comics. And it's him saying, I'm tired of being that monster. And now it's time for me to be a better person for the rest of the world. But it's also Bane asking Damian, like, do you know what it feels like to have your entire life planned out for you? And the thing is, Damian does, because at first it was Ra's al Ghul and Talia al Ghul kind of planning things out for him. It wasn't really until he got over to Bruce Wayne where he had a tad bit more freedom to choose what he wanted to do. And that leads into a flashback where it's Alfred and Damian talking to one another. And with this flashback, it's really more of Alfred telling Damian, like, hey, listen, you may think I don't like you, but the thing is, I believe that you have the ability to become something great like your father, like become a great man like your father. Yes, you may be the grandson to Raja Ghul, the son to Talia al Ghul, but like you're also the son to Bruce Wayne. And so I don't have a reason to hate you. And so for Damien, it was like, yes, at first his life was planned out for him to possibly become a monster in the world. But in reality, once it with Alfred and Bruce, it was like, no, you now have your own path, and hopefully, with a new path, you won't become a monster. And so, as we go back to the present day, you don't have Damien killing off Bane because Damien realized that he's not a monster. That thanks to Alfred and also Bruce, that he was able to create a better life for himself. A life where he will not become a monster in the world of DC Comics. And so he does not kill off Bane. Now, for Bane, he believes that him and Damien are just alike. But Damien said no. Maybe at first, but I had somebody in my corner, Alfred, who was there for me to make a new path for myself, where I am no longer the person I was going to be. I now had my choice to decide what my life is going to be like. Now, you do have Batman and Maya being able to get there in time to see that Damian did not kill off Bane. Now, you have all four characters talking about the idea of taking Bane back over to Gotham City to pay for his crimes. Well, out of nowhere, we see Vengeance shoot Damian. And of course, she shot Damian with a new sample of the brand new Venom. So yes, you do have Damian turning into this Hulk-like character right now, but at the same time, he's in berserker mode. And so it's time for Batman and Bane to work together to fight against Robin. Now, as we dive into the third chapter, we're kind of given these small moments where it takes place after what happened on Dinosaur Island. Like, for example, in the opening page, we're seeing Damien being called into the counselor's office. And for the counselor, she asks Damien like two questions like, hey, are you okay? Because as you all know, in our last video, when it came to Principal Stone, well, she was an old instructor of Damien when he was still part of the League of Assassins. And she was kind of kicked out because of Damien. Ever since then, she always hated Damien. And so he felt like she was trying to come after him once he got over to his new school. Now, once you had her be taken away because she was also doing some crazy things at the school, it's the counselor kind of like, hey, listen, we're asking all the kids how they're doing right now because the whole scene that happened with the principal. But at the same time, they asked Damien, hey, where were you? And you have Damien tell her like, oh, my father and I, we were gone on a trip to an island. And of course, it's him talking about Dinosaur Island. But getting back over to the present day, it leads into a whole situation where now it's Batman, Bane, and also Maya might have to work together to fight against Damian Wayne. And the problem is, Damian is one of the best fighters out in the entire world. So it's like, this is a really bad situation. Now, for Batman, he does not want to fight his son. As a matter of fact, you have Vengeance say, no, you have to fight against your son. You will do it no matter what. Now you have Bane step in. And that kind of shows this is Bane trying to turn over a new leaf. Like, hey, listen, I am no longer that monster you knew of in the early days of DC Comics. It's now a new, fresh start for me. And so you have Bane tell Batman, like, hey, listen, we can work together because we're going to have to because I want to help you to save your son's life. Now, we also see that Cobra, the cult of Cobra, are still there, and they want piece of the action as well. So it's Batman and Bane having to team up to fight against the cult, but also Venom, Robin. Now we do get another moment where it's Damien talking to this counselor, where it's the counselor saying like, oh my God, that's right, you're the son of Bruce Wayne, someone who is a very powerful figure in Gotham City. How do you deal with the fact that you're the son of a person like that here in Gotham? What is your father like? But unfortunately, before we're able to learn what is the answer for Damian Wayne, we have to jump back over to the present. Now, when we do, we pick up with Batman and Bane kind of working together at first, but really, after a few panels, you have Bane dip out, leaving Batman on his own to kind of deal with the cult of Cobra, but also with Robin Bane at the moment. Now, luckily for Batman, he still has Maya around to help out. But at the same time, though, it's still a very difficult situation that he is currently in. But getting back over to his counseling session, we kind of see Damien tell the counselor that he looks at his father as his hero. Now, at first, it wasn't like that. As a matter of fact, you kind of have Damien mention the fact that him and Bruce used to fight a lot, but they were able to overcome their issues. Now, the counselor is asking, like, oh, well, how did you overcome your problems? But as we get back to the present day, we do see Batman trying to tell Damian, like, hey, listen, I'm here. Like, I will always be there in your corner as your father. And so we're continuing the trend of rebuilding that bond between Bruce Wayne and Damian Wayne. Now, after a while, it does seem like Damian is calming down, but there is a dinosaur about to attack Bruce. Now, at the very last second, you have Bane arrive to save Bruce Wayne, but it also kind of help out Damian to turn him back to normal. Now, you also have Bane say, hey, listen, I'm ready to go back to Gotham to pay for the crimes that I had committed. So just like that, he heads back over to Gotham with Bruce and also Damian. Now we have to transition back to the counseling session. And when we do, and really this is the end of the counseling session, you have the counselor ask Damien, like, so who are you? Like, what kind of person are you? Now, for Damien, he really can't explain what kind of person he is, but he can say this right here that in the last year, he was able to rebuild his family, being able to rebuild his relationship with Bruce Wayne. And Bruce and the other members of the Bat family are finally coming to an understanding of what kind of person Damien is. And so you have Damien kind of love the idea of being with this counselor, but at the same time, is Damien kind of wondering, who am I? Like, what kind of person am I actually? But he does leave the counseling session in a good mood. Now, the ending of this book does kind of wrap up very quickly for me. Honestly, I kind of like that because we now get into the all in initiative for DC Comics. But either way, you do have Bruce check in on Damian, like, hey, how was your counseling session? You have Damian say, hey, it went great. I love it. I'm still on guard because I don't know if this counselor is somebody who might come after you or me later down the road. Now, you do have Bruce tell us, like, hey, Bane, he's in jail. Vengeance, she got away. When it comes to Maya, she's with Goliath. And when it comes to the cult of Cobra, they're still out there, but like they're not our concern at the moment. And matter of fact, we'll see the cult of Cobra in the JSA book down the road. But either way, it's Bruce and Damian like officially back on the same page again. That father and bond they had in the early days of DC Comics is back. And so the book ends on that note. So with that being said, guys, yeah, give me a like down below and subscribe. Also, if you have any suggestions on books I should read, well, just tell me down the road, guys. Anyways, see y'all next time. Later.